Hello, welcome to Shining Waters Yoga. Today's class is going to be a short class for the knees. So this is the second class in a series that I've started for knee health. You don't have to have knee issues to do these classes. They're really just great classes even for strengthening our quadriceps and stretching the hamstrings and the muscles of the lower legs as well. Trying to keep it short so that you can fit it into your lifestyle in an easy way. So for today's class, you will need a tennis ball and a block, maybe 2 blocks if you have them. I like to keep my props close at hand. If you don't have a tennis ball, you're welcome to just sit and do a little bit of foot massage. So what we're going to do is open the fascia up, release the fascia in our lower foot. Oftentimes when we have knee issues, we want to also look at the hips and the feet. And please remember that if you're experiencing acute pain in your knee, you might want to just take some time off from your practice. Definitely go see a health professional, your doctor, your physical therapist. It's good to have a diagnosis and know what you're dealing with when you have pain. These are generalized exercises to strengthen the muscles around the joint for better mobility and stability. So with that being said, grab your ball, grab your block if you have it, or blocks. And the chair that I have with me today is really just for balance. You may or may not need it. So we're going to begin standing, have my ball on the floor, and I'm going to take my block between the thighs. You don't want it to stick out too much in the front because we're going to be forward folding in a little bit. But take a moment to find your mountain pose. And this is going to be our grounding and our centering posture today. So lift your toes, all 10 toes. And if you like, you can have socks on in the beginning here. I don't typically wear socks during yoga. But for some people, you might want that little layer between your foot and the tennis ball, which we're going to use in just a moment. So really root down through those feet. Take a moment to lift all 10 toes, lifting your arches, and then place them back down. And notice, do you have a tendency to pronate, where the arches kind of fall inward, or supinate, where they fall outward? Or are your feet fairly even? So just noticing and taking that information in. And then actively press your inner ankles to your outer ankles. Feel how that engages the muscles of your lower legs. And then I'm squeezing that block between my thighs. Just gently, so not forcing it. You don't have to squeeze really hard. And notice that sort of sensation of the upper inner thigh muscles kind of engaged back and apart, so moving back and apart. And then relax the shoulders. Take a deep breath in and exhale, just sigh it out. If you like, it can be helpful to close your eyes, to just go inward and be really present with what you're feeling. Connect with the sensations between your feet and the floor. Feel the strength in your legs. Actively engage your belly. Draw your muscles in and lengthen through your tailbone. Feel for that. Lifting from your sternum, and then the chin is parallel to the floor. Begin to even out your breath. So maybe counting for 4, 5, or 6 as you inhale. And then try to maintain that same count on your exhale. So perhaps inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. If you can take a longer breath, take a longer breath. or two to even the breath out, the inhale and the exhale. And then go ahead and open your eyes. Inhale your arms overhead. Take a breath in. Exhale, slightly draw the lower ribs in. Press down through your feet, reach a little bit higher. Inhale. And as you exhale, go ahead and bring the arms out to the side. Start to come into a forward fold. You can bring your hands down to the floor or to your shins. You could be using even the chair. And just notice if the hamstrings are tight, if there's any lower back pain. Be sure you don't lock your knees. As you take a breath or two here, maybe you can fold a little more deeply. And then put a little bend into your knees. You can take your arms out to the side or to your hips, which I'm going to do since that chair's in the way. Press down through your feet and gently come all the way back up. Go ahead and release the block for a moment, set it aside. Here's where we're going to take our tennis ball. So you could sit down and just massage your feet if you don't have the ball. If you do have the ball, it can be helpful to use a chair or a wall for balance. So we'll start with the right foot, and taking most of our weight into the left foot, let's start to roll that tennis ball back and forth along the length of the sole of your foot, through the arch from the heel to the ball, even up to the big toe if you can. And gently, being careful it doesn't pop out. If it does, no worries, just go grab it and start over. We're just releasing that fascia, opening it up. Take your time. You might find a spot that feels really good. And we won't spend too much time with this today. If you want, you can always pause the tape and spend more time. And then let's go ahead and, with the right foot forward, the left foot back, be mindful that your knee's not going over your toe. I'm just going to take that ball right around the middle of the ball of the foot. It's slightly below the ball. There's that nice little indentation. It's like the top of the arch. And give a little press in. Again, be mindful that the knee doesn't go over the toe, and then release. So I'm going to press and release, press and release, press and release. And then go ahead and bring the ball down to just above your heel. And the same thing, we're going to press into the ball and release. Press and release. Make certain there's no pain in your knee. If so, you just want to back off. Pressing the heel into or just above the heel into the tennis ball. And release. And then bring it back to the ball of the foot one more time. Really in the center of the ball, even up towards the toes, and spread those toes wide and press. You can maybe even sort of roll the foot from side to side so that you're cross patterning here, going across the fascia. If you were massaging your foot, I'm just going to come to sit for a minute, you could actually take your thumbs and just moving them back and forth across the ball of the foot. That's another way to kind of get in there. And then we'll just end with a couple more of those long strokes, because that feels good. Stopping or pausing any place that feels really yummy. And release. We'll go to the other side. And before we do the left side, actually take a moment to pause the mountain pose and just notice the difference in sensation between your feet. Notice even if one knee, around the knee, or the back of the hamstrings feels a little bit more open. And then we'll go to the other side. So we'll start with those nice long strokes. from toe to heel. Again, you can use your chair just for balance. That's really the only reason I have that chair today. We could end with a little legs up the chair. That would be nice. So, and then we'll take and pause here. Left foot forward, right foot back. Make sure the feet are far enough apart that you're not taking your knee over your toes. And taking the ball into the center of the foot, really just below the ball of the foot, and give it a nice press and release. Press and release. And you can get different, if you're a tennis player, you know this, but you can get different kinds of tennis balls. Some of the ones for beginners or for children are a little softer. So if the tennis ball feels too hard for you, you can definitely get a softer ball or even a rubber ball. There are therapy balls that they make, which I also sometimes use, but I like the tennis ball for my feet. And then go ahead and roll that ball to just above your heel. And same thing, we'll actually start to maybe even take a little weight onto the ball with this one. Pressing into the ball and release. You might notice one foot more or less tender than the other. And then roll it back to the ball, closer to the toes. Push in and maybe even take that ball side to side. This gets a little tricky because it's easy to pop it out from under your foot. Just kind of take your time with it, finding that balance and stability. And then we'll end with those nice long strokes. See what I mean? There we go, lost the ball. No worries. Right. And then release the ball and put it aside. I'm going to go ahead and remove my socks because I prefer to do my practice without them. So find mountain pose again. You could take the block and place it between your thighs. Lift all 10 toes, place them back down, relax the shoulders. Root down through your feet, inhale, reach the arms overhead. As you exhale, hinge forward. You can bend the knees if necessary, come back to your forward fold. Notice if it's a little easier. Notice if the hamstrings are a little more open. And then bending your knees, sink your hips back, reach all the way back up. Exhale, hands to your heart, take a breath. So from here, we're going to go ahead and inhale the arms overhead. As you exhale, start to come into chair pose. So bending the knees, sink your hips back, reaching the arms forward here, inhale. As you exhale, come down. You can keep your knees bent and bring the head down towards your knees, taking your hands to the backs of the legs. My knees are still bent here. Inhale, lift halfway, come to Ardha Uttanasana. And I'll show you this side view as well. As you exhale, bend your knees, come back down, taking the hands to the back of the thighs. Inhale, come halfway up. If you don't have a block, certainly you can do this without the block. It's just helpful for the squeezing and engaging of the inner thigh muscles. As you exhale, fold back down. Inhale, come back to Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Stay here. And then bending your knees, reach the arms out to the side, come all the way back up. From here, as you inhale, lift those heels, find balance on the ball of the feet, draw your belly in. And exhale, bring the heels back down, come into chair pose, fierce pose. And we're going to do that a couple of times. I'm going to move this little guy out of the way. So inhale, reaching the arms to the sky. Lift up onto the balls of your feet. And exhale, heels come down, chair pose. Notice for a moment if the knees tend to go in or out. That's another thing that this block is really good for, is to keep the knees from going knock-kneed. Inhale, come all the way up, lift the heels. Keep your belly engaged. Exhale, heels come down, chair pose. If the arms get tired, just bring the hands to your heart. Inhale, come to stand, lift your heels. You could leave the arms out of it or reach up. And exhale, heels down, chair pose. Let's do one more here. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, the heels come down, chair pose. Stay here for several breaths, unless you need to come out. Reach the arms forward. Again, if the arms become tired, you can bring them to your chest or even to your hips. Breathe. Keep squeezing that block. Gently, don't overdo. One more breath in. Exhale and forward fold. Start to straighten the legs a little bit if you can. Maybe taking the hands to the ankles. And come to squat one more time. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Breathe. You can remove your block and place the block aside. And I'm just going to grab my notes here. So from here, let's go ahead and come to hands and knees. So if you want, you could pad your knees here with a blanket. Come this way. Knees are going to be hip width apart, and hands are shoulder width apart. And we'll just warm up the spine a little bit. Going to arch into a cow pose here. As you exhale, start to bring your seat to your heels, not all the way in child's, but coming towards that position. And then inhale back to the starting place, arching the spine. Exhale, engage your belly and draw the hips back towards your heels. Inhale back to cow pose. And exhale, draw the belly in, sink the hips back. One more time, inhale forward, arching the spine. And exhale, drawing hips back towards the heels. You can come back as far as your hips are able to now. Reaching the arms forward, you could bring your head down to the mat or to a block, whatever is more accessible for you. And then as you're ready, come all the way back to table. We're going to start to straighten the right leg back, press through the heel. And then lifting that leg up, turning the toes out just slightly, but don't let the hip turn out. So keep the hip point facing down towards the mat. Just turning the foot out. It's not going to go that far. Take the opposite arm out, opposite arm, opposite leg. Keep your belly engaged, and then bring it down. Other side, let's press through the heel, stretch to the back of the leg. And then lift that leg up, turn the left toes out, right arm, opposite leg. And exhale it down. If at any time this is too much on your hands, you can have a block. You can take your fist. I'm looking at the block. You can take your fist, stretch the right leg back, left arm out, and bring it down. Other side, left leg, right arm. Bring it down one more time each side, right leg, left arm. Exhale it down. Left leg, right arm. And exhale down. From here, let's tuck the toes under. Walk the hands forward slightly and start to lift the knees off the mat. Come to a bent knee, downward facing dog. Draw the triceps back and apart. Start to straighten one leg, and then switch, straighten the other. Pedaling the feet, bending one knee and then the other. then straighten both legs. Lift those hips up really high. Exhale, sink the heels back towards the mat. Some of you may reach the mat, some may not. That's okay. Keep hugging those triceps in. And then shift your weight forward to plank pose. If you need to, you can bring your knees down. Slowly lower. We're going to come all the way on to our bellies. I'm going to just move this blanket out of the way. You could keep the blanket under your hips, but you don't want it under the belly or the legs because it'll just feel awkward. But it can make a nice support under the hips if you want to do that. We're going to come down onto our bellies and take your arms out to the side like a cactus. Your forehead is either going to come to the mat, or if that's not comfortable, you can turn it to the side. From here, keep the legs slightly apart. Press down through your hips, your pubic bone. As you inhale, start to lift your head, lift your chest, keeping your head and neck aligned, so don't jump the head way back. And exhale, come back down. Inhale, lift your head, lift your chest. This time we're going to lift the right leg, bending the knee. So not a straight leg, but a bent knee. And flex that foot. And then lower back down. Now let's do that with the breath. So inhale, lift your head and your chest. Exhale, press down through your hips. Then inhale, bend the right knee, flex the foot. And exhale, bring everything back down. Maybe turn your head to the side if you like. Inhale, lift your head and your chest. Keep the arms down. Exhale, press down through your hips, really root down. And then opposite leg, bend your left knee as you inhale, flex the foot, heel towards the glute. And exhale, lower everything back in, down, and turn your head. Or you can do the forehead to the mat. Inhale, lift your head and your chest. Exhale, press down through your hips. Inhale, bend the right knee, bring the heel towards the glute. The foot is flexed. Exhale, back down. Inhale, lift your head and your chest. Exhale, press down through your hips. Inhale, bend the left knee, heel towards the glute. And exhale, back down. Let's do one more each side. Inhale, lift the head and the chest. Exhale, root down through your hips. Inhale, bend the right knee. And exhale, lower back down. Inhale, lift your head, your chest. Exhale, root down through your hips. Inhale, bend that knee, heel to the glute. And exhale, back down. Pause here for a moment. You can stack your hands under your forehead. Breathe. You can actually stay here and rest the upper body as we go on to the next movement. So you're going to tuck your right toe under. Lift your right knee up, keeping the toe in contact with the floor. And then lift the whole leg and hold for 2, 3, 4, and lower the whole leg. You can keep the toe tucked. And then lift the knee, lift the leg, same side, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale and lower. Lift your knee, lift your leg, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale and lower. One more time. Inhale, lift your knee, lift your leg, 2, 3, 4, exhale and lower. Untuck those toes, we're going to go to the other side. Tuck your left toes under. Now they can stay tucked throughout the movement. Lift your knee, lift your leg and hold, 2, 3, 4, toe comes down, knee comes down, relax. Inhale, lift your knee, lift your leg, 2, 3, 4, and relax, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, lift your knee, lift your leg,
hold, 2, 3, 4, relax the toe, relax the knee. Next breath in, lift your knee and lift your leg, hold, 2, 3, 4, toe comes down, knee comes down, untuck, relax. Bring the arms down to your sides. As you're ready, we're going to inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, lift both legs, lift both arms. Breathe. 2, 3, 4, and exhale, come back down. Pressing down through your hips. Inhale, lift the head, chest, arms, legs. 2, 3, 4, exhale, back down. We're going to do one more like that. When you're ready, press down through your hips as you exhale. Inhale, lift your head and chest, your arms, and your legs. 2, 3, 4, and exhale, back down. Stack your hands, rest your forehead. You can stay here and rest, or you can come all the way back to your child's pose and rest if that feels better for you. So find your resting posture. And then from here, we're going to slowly come all the way back to table. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Walk your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet. Find that forward fold one last time. Bend your knees, bring the arms out to the side, and come to stand on your mat. From here, either starting from the front of the mat or the back of the mat. I'm going to start from the back of my mat. We're going to step the right foot forward and the left foot back. So if you're forward, you're going to step left foot back. I'm going to step my right foot forward. We're going to find warrior one. So keep the back heel down. The back toes are pointed out slightly. The hips are forward. Inhale and reach your arms to the sky. As you bend that front knee, make sure it stays in line with your ankle, or even a little bit behind. Big breath in here. As you exhale, straighten the front leg and hinge forward, just slightly. You don't have to come very far. Inhale, reach up and bend that front knee, and just watch how that knee is tracking. So you want it to go forward towards your toes. And then exhale and straighten, bring the arms back. Inhale, reach up and bend your knee. Reaching towards the sky. You can look up if it's okay with your neck. Exhale, straighten the leg and hinge forward. Keep your belly engaged. I'm not rounding my back. Inhale, bend and reach up. Let's stay here this time. You can bring the arms together if you want. Reach a little bit higher, or bring the hands to the heart and breathe. Nice strong leg, strong knee. And then straighten that leg. Step your back foot in a little bit. Bringing the arms behind you and grabbing the forearms. Inhale, lift your chest, and exhale and hinge forward from the hips. Breathe here. Drawing the right hip back and the left hip forward. In pyramid pose. And breathe. Keep the quadriceps engaged, lifting the right kneecap. Don't lock your front knee. And then inhale to come all the way up. And exhale. Step your back foot forward, releasing your arms as you do. Come to stand and pause in mountain pose. And breathe. So from here, we'll go to the other side. We're going to step that right foot back now. Again, find the distance between your feet that feels comfortable so that as you bend the front knee, it doesn't go over your toes. You want to keep it in line with the ankle or a little bit behind. Back heel is down. Position the hips forward. The chest is forward. Reach the arms to the sky and find your warrior one. As you exhale, go ahead, straighten that front foot, or front knee rather, and bring the arms down, hinge forward just a little bit, not too far. Inhale, reach up, and bend the knee. Exhale and straighten the front leg, hinging forward from the hips.
Muscles of the quadriceps engaged here. Inhale back up and bend the front knee. Make sure that knee is tracking straight forward. Exhale, straighten and hinge forward. Let's do one more. Inhale up, bend the front knee. Exhale, straighten the leg and hinge forward. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, straighten the front knee, hands to your heart. Breathe, hold the pose. And then straightening the front leg, step your back foot in a little bit to shorten the distance between your feet. Grabbing your forearms, inhale and open the chest. Hinging forward from your hips, finding that pyramid pose. Take several breaths here. As you exhale, you may find a little more space to hold. Make sure you're not straining your neck. Relaxing the back of the neck. Keep your quads engaged. To lift the kneecap, drawing your left hip back and your right hip forward. And then inhale and come all the way up. And exhale. Release your arms, step your back foot forward. You can march it out, you can shake it out. We're going to come to do a couple of balance poses. So if you feel like you need a little help with balance, you could bring that chair back if you have it, or you can stand near a wall. We're going to start by rooting down through our left foot, standing nice and tall. As you exhale, start to bend your right knee. And let me just mention, another option is to have that block nearby. So if you don't feel like you can really lift that knee very high, or you don't feel really stable, you could rest your foot on that block. Keep rooting down through the left foot, draw your belly in, and then maybe you're able to lift it off the block. So we're really finding stability here on the left leg. Keep your belly engaged. Reach the arms up. Anytime you need to come out, you can come out. This is my wobbly side. And then start to straighten that leg. Breathe. Can you hold it another breath? And exhale, bend the knee. If you can, draw that knee to your chest. You can hold onto the chair for balance, or take both hands to the front knee. And release it down. We'll go to the other side. So if you needed that chair for balance, you could just move it to the other side. Root down through your right foot. Draw your belly in. Start to bend the left knee. If you want, you can use that block. Otherwise, just start to lift it up. You can hold onto your chair if you need to. And then when you're ready, reach the arms overhead. Unless you need to hold on. That's fine to hold on. Draw your belly in. And then when you're ready, straighten that front leg. Breathe. Hold for another breath or two. And exhale, bend the knee in. Drawing it in with both hands or holding on to your chair as necessary. And release. March it out. Find mountain pose. Notice how your quadriceps, the muscles in the front of your thighs feel. You did a lot of work. We're going to do one more balance pose before we come back down. So baby dancer pose. This is another one where it's helpful to have the chair. You could also use a strap for this pose, which I did not mention at the beginning of our practice. So if you have a strap, actually I have one that's already looped, you can grab that. If you don't worry, you may not need it. We need to catch the foot. So always be careful. I've seen people sort of lean over and do these kind of funky things to try to pick their foot up, and they end up hurting themselves. It's great if you can bend the knee. We'll start with the left knee. So root down through your right foot. Bend your left knee and bring it back to stork pose. Take the left hand and simply Take it down the shin, start to draw your heel to your hip or your glute. Bringing that knee down to point downwards towards the floor. Now, if you can't reach your foot, you could take the strap and loop it around your foot. I don't really have mine looped very well, but you can bring that loop over your shoulder and then use the strap to hold your foot. So that's the strap version. I'm not going to show you that on the other side. Otherwise, bringing the knee up, taking the heel to your glute. As you find your balance, maybe you can reach that right arm up. Keep rooting down to the right foot. Keep drawing your belly in. Once you find balance here, so really feel for pressing the foot into your hand, and you may start to tilt forward slightly. It's not a forward fold. It's leaning forward and lifting from your sternum. Some people may even be able to take their hand to the inner side of the foot, to the big toe side, and then hinge forward. Now, if you start to lose balance there and that feels like too much today, just stay in the standing pose, baby dancer, the preparatory pose. You could also, of course, hold on to a wall here. And then bring it down. Take a moment to pause between sides. We'll go to the other side. I'm just going to move my chair so you can see. You don't have to do that. So rooting down through my left foot. Again, actually let me face you so I have the room to bend my knee. Best to bend the knee and bring the foot towards you rather than you trying to bend over and grab your foot. Take the hand, slide it down the shin to the top of the foot, and start to bring that heel towards your glute. The knee is pointing downward, not out to the side, not forward. You could just stay here for today. Once you find balance, maybe bringing the left arm up. That's the next step. If you feel like you've got that, imagine pressing your foot into your hand, and that action in and of itself will have you start to lean forward. Keep drawing your belly in. Core is really crucial to your balance. And then that even feels a little odd to me because I'm used to taking my hand to the big toe side. So if you can, reach your arm around this way so that the big toe is laying in your right hand. Press the foot into the hand, reaching forward. Keep drawing the belly in. You'll get a little bit of a shoulder stretch too. And then releasing when you're ready. March it out. You can move the chair aside. Actually, you can turn that chair around and save it for the end of class. Let's come back to mountain pose. Inhale, reach to the arms to the sky, and exhale and hinge forward. Inhale, lift halfway, and exhale and bend the knees. Come to sit on your mat. We're going to do a bridge pose. That guy out of the way. So you want as you start to come back onto your back, you want your heels in line with the knees as much as possible. And scoop the hips forward. You don't want a lot of space here between your feet and your hips. Come all the way back. And then we're going to root down through the feet. We'll do a couple of bridge poses. So the first couple are just kind of preparation. Root down through your feet as you inhale. Start to lift your hips up. Lift the spine up. Reach your arms over your head. Exhale and slowly roll the spine back down. The hips come down and the arms come down. Root down through your feet. Inhale. Lift your hips. Lift your spine. Reach your arms overhead. Exhale and slowly roll your spine back down. The hips come down and the arms come down. Again, root down through your feet. Inhale, lift your hips, lift your spine, reach your arms overhead. And exhale and slowly lower everything
back down. Okay, are you ready? We're gonna hold this one. So root down through your feet. Inhale, lift your hips, lift your spine, walk those shoulders underneath a little bit. If you like, you can reach the arms overhead. Or maybe keep them down this time and interlace your hands underneath your tailbone, pressing the palms together. If you want, you can stay here for a few breaths, slowly lower down when you feel like you're finished. Or if you want to challenge yourself, try to straighten your right leg up to the sky. Keep rooting down through that left foot and release it back down. Lift those hips up, root down through your right foot and straighten your left leg up to the sky. And then bring that foot down when you're ready. One more time, let's lift the hips up. And exhale, release those arms out. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Roll the spine down. Walk the feet as wide as your mat and let your knees fall together. Take a few breaths here. We're almost finished. From here, open the knees up, keep the feet wide, let the knees go side to side like windshield wipers. And then the next time they come over to the right, you can pause there. Some of you may be able to lift your right foot and place it slightly above the left thigh, which sort of presses that left thigh down. You'll feel a deeper stretch in the top of your hip, but be mindful that you're not on the knee, especially if you're having tender knees. And take a few breaths here. And then release. Let's go to the other side, dropping the knees over with that wide pose or wide legs so that that right knee can come down. And then either staying here or lift that left foot and see if you can place it on top of the right thigh. Getting a little deeper stretch here in the front of the leg. If not, no worries. You can just keep the foot on the floor. Take several breaths here. Use the exhale to relax and release. And then release that foot back down. Bring the knees back up. Let's come into a nice symmetrical posture to finish. So drawing your knees into Apanasana. You can either grab the shins or the hands underneath and just rock a little bit side to side. Maybe straightening the legs. And then to finish out, you can either come to Shavasana, or if you have that chair nearby, maybe you want to bring your chair forward. I always like to put a blanket on so it's a little bit warmer. These metal chairs are cold. And then placing your legs on the chair so that the knees and the legs can rest. You can put another blanket, a second blanket if you have one under the head here as a pillow. So lengthening through the back of the neck, and then let the arms rest at your sides. Take a deep breath here, and as you exhale, relax your body on the floor. So either the legs are up the chair, or you're lying all the way on the floor in Shavasana. You can also roll a blanket under your knees if you're laying straight leg, just to keep pressure off the lower back. Take several breaths to release your upper back into the floor. Again, if your legs are straight, you could actually flop the feet in and out a little bit a couple times. Just releasing energy, releasing stiffness and tension in the legs. And bring your mind and your focus back to your breath. Allow your whole back body to rest on the floor. Notice any tension in your jaw. Taking a deep breath in as you exhale, soften the jaw. Soften the forehead. Relax the backs of the ears. Notice any sensation in the hips, the knees, or the ankles. On your next breath in, reach your arms overhead. As you exhale, you can slowly start to draw your knees in. So whether you're using the chair or not, give yourself one more little squeeze in Apanasana. And then gently roll to your side and pause there for a moment. When you feel grounded and ready, you can slowly walk back up to seated, maybe coming to sit in your chair or on a blanket. Maybe coming to sit cross-legged and just take a moment to notice how the knees feel. Sitting with an erect spine, relaxing the shoulders. Bringing the hands to heart center, take a deep breath. As you exhale, honor yourself for taking this time for self-care. I wish you health and happiness. Namaste.